All right, so small change of plans here. There's something that kind of happened tonight that's worth talking about. It's under the topic of limiting, and it's interesting because so many other people don't really talk about limiting, they just talk about. They usually talk about putting the right things in your life, making sure you keep the bad stuff out, and it has to do with what you let influence your life, what you and who you allow into your life. It all makes a big impact, if not right away, then later down the road. Also, as you can see, it's nighttime and pretty much right outside of one of the sites that I usually work at here. I shouldn't say usually, but this is basically one of the positions, one of those sites that I'm at. And I'm just trying to keep this real quick. But the idea presented here is twofold. If you're not aware of it, there's a lot of garbage that you can prevent from letting into your life by limiting the social media, the amount of exposure you have to social media and all that. The other thing that should be noted is you need to limit where your mind goes and how far back in the past you linger, because it's not unhealthy to stay in the past. That's where your memories are. That's not where you should be. You should be making memories, but not staying with them. There's very little good that'll come of it outside of making sure you never forget. What you choose and who you choose to not forget is up to you, though. Like, for example, there's many places here that I work at that I'll never forget because of the experiences and the memories and all of that that's tied there. I've been to sites all over, and to be honest, let's just say some of the people in them are both forgettable and people I'll never actually forget because of the experiences and all that. People are what make things memorable or garbage. It's not the things themselves. It's not the memories themselves. The other part that I wanted to briefly mention was someone asked me about my past and going into it, and I showed them a picture of the old place I used to live at. And to be honest, it's kind of heartbreaking because it's literally just a house there and there's nothing else. The place is starting to fall apart. The mailbox is kind of smashed or tilted or whatever. There's no plants blooming. The garden is basically not there. There's no curtains in the windows. You kind of get the idea. It's just a building, and it doesn't look like anyone lived there at all. So, yeah, it kind of hit me hard, and I was like, dang. Me on a personal level, I have to limit the amount of time I spent in my memories and in my past, because I used to get stuck there for days. Like, something hit me from the past and bam, I would just get stuck right there. The Bible and anywhere else you talk to, they'll talk about what you should do to improve your life and how to balance it out, how to stabilize yourself. But it never really talks about limitations and how it actually is good for you. Through limitations, you develop boundaries and you become more free than you normally do, Boundaries themselves are not limitations. Boundaries are like guidelines, but they're reinforced, and they're usually very visible. Guidelines are like guardrails. You can choose to stick to them or not. It's up to you. Limitations are something that you can put into your life or have them be deliberately put into your life. This is most notable if you're like on a college campus, going to classes and stuff like that. Like, you are limited in what you can and cannot do and what you can and cannot bring and all that. That's just an example. You go to a specific type of church and all that. you're not really limited, but you're not encouraged to be yourself there either. And that's bringing in line with the channel with like those in the church and in the faith and those outside. Um, but this is important because you start seeing more of what you can do with what is available to you. But you're also cutting out some of the garbage and some of the stuff that doesn't really matter. Some of the negative people, the negative toxic stuff in your life that needs to get rid of. Ultimately, this is all to benefit you and to make you be healthier. Anyway, that's pretty much about it. There's more side points to bring up here, but it just kind of changes the topic, and I wanted to keep it short to just the one word of limiting. All right, until next time.